It's early signing day. How did the Auburn Tigers fare? Welcome on in, everybody, to the Midweek Report brought to you by the Rage Room. Opelika and Birmingham are the places where you can go and get your rage on. They have two locations to serve you: 1510 2nd Avenue in Opelika, Alabama, 2616 7th Avenue South in Birmingham, Alabama. Axe throwing is something that you could do as well. Make sure you tell them the War Report sent you. Also, if you want to be able to support and do great things with the Green Name Gang, like today we had our marathon live, as we always do at this time. Your boy Ike Jones going live from early in the morning until late into the evening, giving you all of the updates on what's happening with, well, it's not really updates. Y'all can get the updates from anywhere, but you come for the commentary. You understand me? So I'm in there serving up the commentary for y'all real proper like. So y'all make sure that y'all tap in with that. Green Name Gang. Also, we'll be doing our basketball watch along tonight. Green Name Gang, link up with me. We'll make sure that we have all of the great commentary going live during Auburn's game versus NC State tonight. If you are not a member and you want to gift a membership to somebody, they'll get a free month's membership on you. All you got to do, hit that gifted membership button and someone will get a free month. Even Daniel, because Daniel got a free month's membership. He don't want it. He just luckily had it. Somebody else got a free month of membership. They were complaining about it. They're like, I don't even support Auburn no more. And I was like, I can't do nothing about that. Hopefully it will go to somebody who actually wants it. But we appreciate everybody who has continued to support us in those ways. You can tap in with the network. Other people are out here doing great Auburn content. We are on the Auburn Express, the Up-Tempo podcast with my guy Dustin, Dylan over at the College Loop. You can check us out on the Just a Sec pod. And if you want to get a little into some sports gaming, TWR Gaming channel is over there for you on YouTube. Make sure you tap in over there. But let's get the proceedings proceeding this evening and talk a little bit about this National Signing Day. Actually, before we get into signing day, let's because some people might need an update on how we arrived here, where we are right now. And who better to come in and pepper me with questions that I might not have answers to than the one, the only. He's been missed, but he's here. My man B Will is in the place to be this evening.
How we doing? Hello, all the people. It's been a while. Missed y'all. Been busy, but it's good to be back at least for a night. You know what I mean? Zoomed out. My camera is not cooperating. I never turn this computer on anymore, and it shows. But y'all bear with me.
Hey man, they don't care nothing about all that. They just want you to be here, man. You could have been on your cell phone, man. They would have been like, "Hey, it's B Will in here, man."
You're right. We in here. So yeah, man, it's good to be
back. All right, man. So so let's get the people caught up on what's happening with Auburn football as we approach here early signing day. Yeah. Talk to me, man. What you got? You said you had some questions. I got answers for you, maybe.
I've been out the loop. All right. So I know you've been mostly in the loop. I want to know why we apparently didn't have a great summer while other programs did. I know Auburn is putting down the dollars. The dollars are being put down by Auburn for NIL and however else that's going. But apparently we didn't fare well this summer. Why is that?
I mean, mixed reasons, right? Like there was just a lot of uncertainty early in the process with kind of how the NIL structure was going to be in relation to what was happening with rev share. And it got Auburn off to a slow start. I think that there was more caution in terms of commitment towards Auburn, considering there had not been a product on. Now, John Cohen disputed this, that the product on the field was portion of the problem. I don't know that we can see you cannot see a correlation to that. And then
Yeah.
as you get into the season, you can definitely see how that would slow the momentum additionally. But I do think that there was somewhat of a correlation with apprehension towards what am I actually committing to, and
Yeah.
a little bit of we don't know as an Auburn how this money thing is going to work out. So they didn't want to overpromise stuff that they wouldn't be able to subsequently back up with the funds.
Okay. Okay. Now that makes sense. Also, the on-field product was terrible, so that also makes sense. All right. I think I'm caught up in that regard then.
Okay.
Because I honestly, we've been through how many of these live sign-in days have you done, Ike?
Oh, 4 or 5 now. Yeah.
4 or 5, 4 or 5. We were getting less than stellar recruiting classes when we first started this channel. And we have
So
ended
we
up with
went
some
through, hold
stellar.
on. We had 2 years of Brian Harsin stuff.
Mhm.
We had 2 years of Hugh Freeze, and then this first year of Alex. So this is the 5th year, yeah, that we've been covering recruiting, early signing date.
And I say that to say the product on the field has not had a direct correlation with recruiting one way or another. When we recruited poorly, we did okay. Like we showed a couple of flashes year one of Brian Harsin, but we had stability at quarterback because Bo was actually decent under Brian Harsin. Then it all fell apart. The talent left, and we looked terrible under Brian Harsin. The recruiting was bad. Hugh Freeze comes in. He tries to right the ship. He gets some talent. Maybe he doesn't do great picking quarterbacks. No, he definitely didn't do great picking his first starting quarterback. And then we look terrible. We get better wide receivers. The defense gets better under Durkin. And then on offense, we still look terrible. It has taken some of the air out of my excitement balloon when it comes to recruiting specifically. Because if the coach is a bum, or if the coach doesn't want to put his old ways aside to adopt some new ways of doing things relating to players and getting people to buy in, does it matter how good you recruit? At least on one side of the ball, no, it doesn't. You can have the coach can be the thing that is stopping the show. And so I want to see somebody competent at the head of the ship completely. We have not had a competent head coach in 3 years. And I don't think Brian Harsin was incompetent. I think he was in the wrong place and didn't grasp the job in every facet of the job. But it also still wasn't a good fit. So who has been equally married to the responsibility of this head coaching job and competent at the same time? Maybe early Gus? Maybe? I don't know. It's been so long, since we actually had a reason to be. We didn't know that Hugh Freeze was going to flame out like this when we hired him 3 years ago, but that's ended up what it's been. So I'm a little muted on excitement about recruiting. I really want to see who the coach is and what he can do, and not just in pressers, not just in the decision to keep DJ Durkin, which was a good one, and which was a big one, and which I think that says as much about Durkin as it does about Golish, to be honest with you. But we've got to see it work on the field. And man, we've gone through so many pressers and coaching changes where you hear words and people talking and moving their mouth and they saying all the right stuff. And then we suck on Saturdays. I don't want that no more, man. I don't want that no more. I'm hoping this coach actually knows how to coach football in 2025. He knows how to relate to players in 2025. He knows how to evaluate offensive talent. And maybe, just maybe, actually lets QBs compete for the job. Who knows? Maybe this will be a novel thing that this coach likes to start, because I mean, we really didn't get too much of that this last coach did with him.
You know what? That's a huge question I have really about what quarterback competition is going to look like under this coach. To the point that you made, it has been, and this is not a uniquely Auburn issue, right? But
Yeah.
it is the reason why there is a clear separation with organizational administrations that are successful and ones that are not successful. It's the ones that have the marriage of the ability to obtain top level talent and effectively utilize top level talent, right? Like we can go throughout college football and we can see teams that finish in the top 20 consistently and somehow are not competing for championships. And unfortunately, that has been the story of Auburn football consistently from Gus Malzahn to Hugh Freeze, right? Like you have that blip in the middle with Harsin where you weren't doing either really. But when you look at those two coaches specifically, you look at coaches that were able to go get, on paper, talented football teams and then underperform the results of that talent. Yeah, the hope is that you found a coach that knows how to take what talent is there and maximize it. And then hopefully use the results of maximizing talent to subsequently upgrade the talent in the next cycle.
Right. And that's
how you build programs.
That's how you build it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see whether or not he has that in him. He has shown the proficiency or the proclivity or whatever other big words you want to say, that he's done it before in other places, and he hasn't really had the financial backing that Auburn can provide you to be able to really accelerate that pace and that growth. But he also has not had to do that as a head coach at the P4 level as of yet, right? So we'll see whether or not his coaching acumen translates over to big boy football, or whether or not it's going to be like, yeah, he can be the little giant coming in once or twice knocking off a big boy, but every week somebody's coming knocking on your door that's a big boy. Can you go and answer that call every single time? We'll see.
Right. We'll see.
All right. What else you got? Any other questions about how we arrived here? What's up? What, you know what I mean?
I mean, I watched the games. I know how we got here. I knew exactly how we got here. You know, I watched enough games this season.
People have been asking me, and I was like, I don't know. You have to ask them yourself. What are your thoughts initially on the hire of Alex Golesh?
Well, you know, me and you had a little conversation in the Slack about this. I was worried that
this
Auburn
was the conversation we had was prior to Golesh actually being hired. This was around the whole Summerall, what we would consider
thing. Yeah. Now, at the time, we didn't know what the sticking point was for why did we move on from John Summerall, or why did he move on from us, apparently. And I was a little worried that Auburn, look, if that's your guy, go get him. Don't let a few $1 million between where you offered and where Florida offered be the difference. Turns out that wasn't the difference at all. He was worried about the culture here. And listen, I watched the show. I heard Mike G try to tamp down the John Summerall's a chump. He didn't like the idea that John Summerall bolted because of the negative reports about the culture here. I just want to say, listen, we have to be honest with ourselves. There is a lot of smoke and even some fire about the culture at Auburn between boosters and head coach, going back to Tommy Tuberville when the AD and a booster got on the plane to go get another dude behind your back. Listen, these boosters have done this for a long time. We know is very strong. It was pretty evident to us that they had clinched and cinched the bags for Brian Harsin and said, nah, buddy. Like, you don't want to recruit, but also it's going to be a lot harder when we don't even give you some of the ground level stuff that other coaches have gotten. We also know that when Brent Venables took the Oklahoma job, he outright said, no, I don't really like how it's going over there. And if you believe rumor boards, Kirby Smart interviewed for the job before Gus got it and was like, y'all, I don't really like that. I don't really get full lay of the land over here. They do this. Let's not pretend they don't do this. The question is, are they still doing it now? And they may have learned some. Hugh Freeze, I think, recently said, hey, I didn't have any handcuffs on me. And I believe that because Hugh Freeze was their guy. He was in the club. He was in the rich Southern good old boy circle. That's how he got picked. That's how he got designated for that job. So maybe he didn't. But if they don't like you anymore, Tommy Tuberville, after a few underwhelming seasons, or Brian Harsin because they never wanted him in the first place, they absolutely close you off and box you out. That's a real thing. We don't have to act like that's not true. But was that going to be the case with John Summerall? We don't know. We don't know that. I think any coach that came here and that went pretty much anywhere had to know, I've got to win to get my ship to back control of it. If I want to be in control of this thing, I've got to win. Every coach knows that. Like, you got to win, and you can be out quick. I mean, we're turning coaches around across the country in a year, 2 years, 3 years. You used to get 5 or 6 to stink it up, and now you don't get any. So coaches know the risk. They have a lot of insurance in these contracts. But here, it is a unique challenge to get boosters out of the mix while still hoping they continue to pour millions and millions and millions into what now is becoming a more complicated endeavor than ever in roster building and retaining talent. It's complicated. So I don't fault John Summerall for running from it, if that's his reason, because we've seen it enough to know that it has been true. Whether or not it will continue to be, we don't know. Now, landing on Alex Golish, hey, why not? I mean, I don't know if this is going to work. Billy Napier was lights out at UL Lafayette, and then Brian Harsin was running a winning program up in Boise before he came down here. Then, no, who knows before they get here
Right.
if they can handle it, and if they can handle it well, and then excel the way they did at their last positions. I don't think it's more of a guessing game than ever. It's more of a gamble than ever. It's more of a crapshoot than ever. You have to just use some good judgment as far as how you pick these guys and hope for the best. And when you hear John Cohen talk, it sounds like he's using good judgment about it. It sounds like there's not too much meddling and I want my guy behind the scenes like there may have been in the past. So hopefully that's really the case. I'm willing to let the guy just give him what he wants, man. Just whatever he has done more at South Florida. I remember, was it last year we watched South Florida was like toe-to-toe with Bama in the early season. We were like, what the hell's going on? What's this going on? I didn't know he was a coach down there doing that. All right. You know what? That was a program you had no business competing with. South Florida had been awful the years before he got there. All of a sudden, you're competitive, winning 9 games. South Florida don't have deep pockets. Okay. Well, you showed me something because you did something with nothing versus the last coach who did nothing with the most Auburn has ever had in total compensation for players, money, recruiting, facilities, organization. We've had more than we ever had, and Hugh Freeze turned in a 4-8 season. I think it likely could have been with if he was still at the helm the whole time. But that was some righteous, unnecessary, embarrassing losing. Like, that was the worst head coaching job. Brian Harsin actually didn't have the players. He actually did not have the players. Hugh Freeze has NFL talent on the roster. Like, the Brian Harsin classes, we got like 1 or 2 people drafted during the draft. Like, it wasn't a lot that just leaped to the next level. This was an embarrassment of riches compared to what we've been the last 10 years. And we can't do anything on offense. That was embarrassing, man. That was embarrassing. Yeah. So, yeah, Hugh Freeze needs to go. I'm glad he's gone. More than anything, something that, y'all know I've been busy because I got a new job. Working in a new place, and you worked enough jobs to know, and anybody who is an adult, you've been in professional atmospheres, you know, the work dynamic is so prevalent in sports now. And I think that as fans, we probably forget some of that. We forget how real it is that if you don't like the people you come to work with, it makes working harder. Even if you are being paid and collecting a check, if your supervisor, if your manager, if the people at the top decide, I don't really know about you, I'm just going to sit you down. No, you don't get on this new project. You don't pick up this new client. You're not going to contribute. You park it. You park it, and then we'll figure out something else for you to do. If the people at the top don't believe in you, don't encourage you, don't develop you, it makes doing your best really, really hard. And what I've seen from the outside looking in, and also with the little bit of information I've been able to glean from the shows and talking to you and Mike, there was a lack of buy-in from the players about what was going on under Hugh Freeze. And to me, if John Cohen sees that, if anybody else sees something like that, you can't let that continue to go on, because then you're killing the morale of your team. Just like you can be in a terrible place at work and like, I don't even want to come in. I hate these people. Don't let these players start feeling like that, because now they have an option. Before, they had to sign their name and they was there no matter what. The transfer portal was rare. Like, it was really the graduate portal was all it was, essentially, because that year sitting out would hurt you. But now, don't give players a reason to leave. Keeping Hugh Freeze as long as they did was giving them a reason to leave. And so far, because we've been paying good, they haven't jumped ship yet. They haven't announced their intentions to transfer yet. I want to see how much they can keep. And honestly, I'm not going to be too disappointed if we lose major stars. We've seen talent move all around the country all the time, everywhere. You'll be okay. You will continue to recruit. Everybody will get new players. And your coach, if he's the coach you want him to be, will be able to rebuild it. Just trust that he can do that. That's all you got to do. You trust the guy there that's building the program, and you hope that he can get it going for you. Otherwise, there's no reason to freak out about it. You just hope you got the right guy. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I've said as much. Like, there's a couple of people who I'm like, yeah, I don't really care if you hit the portal. But for the vast majority of the team, I'm like, listen, I want these guys to stay because I think they're supremely talented. But if they
Yeah.
leave, I listen, I'm not going to say, oh my God, Alex Golish, what are you doing? How could you let this guy like? You can't
Yeah.
make people stay in a program or a place that they don't want to be. And I
Yeah.
prefer to not have to beg you to stay, right? Like I
Yeah.
would worry about your buy-in the minute it doesn't look perfect because you had one foot out the door to begin with.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I agree with you.
if
I agree with
what they are putting together as far as offensive football specifically, because I don't know that a lot of defensive guys, unless they're just not getting snaps, are worried about leaving, right? Because
you. Right.
if you were going to leave, it wasn't because there's a new head coach, right? Because you have your guy on defense still for the most part. There are some players who like, if they were really, really bought in to Coach Rock Bellantoni and he's apparently not getting retained, then they're like, all right, man, I'm out, man. Coach Rock ain't coaching me. I can't,
Right.
but I
Right.
don't know
Yeah.
how often that sort of thing is going to be happening. Like, I don't know what's happening with, crime and whether or not he's going to get retained. Like, man, I was really here for crime and he ain't here. I'm, like I could understand
Yeah.
that type of situation on
Yeah.
defense. Otherwise,
Yeah.
listen, if guys don't want to be there, then I want them to go pursue opportunities that make sense for them and make way for folks who really want to be in an Auburn uniform and be coached by what I feel like are two really good coaches on your offense and defensive sides.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you.
So
I'm
we'll
with you.
see. Yeah, like
We will
again,
see.
it's a wait and see game. I don't think, I've said this multiple times. I wrote an article and I said it, I'll say it again. I don't think this is a home run hire, but I don't know that there was a home run hire to be had in this coaching
Right.
cycle.
Yeah.
So being upset
I
you
agree.
didn't hit a home run in a situation where it wasn't even possible is overreaction by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think that this is better than just a base hit. I do think that Auburn is in scoring position right now, right? I
Yeah.
do think this is a
Yeah.
double. I do think the keeping DJ Durkin on maybe even extends it to a stand-up triple, right? Like I think you get
Yeah.
yourself in a position where if
Yeah.
something goes right, you're scoring, right? Like, and it really
Right.
don't take a lot. It might just be an error. It might be like you can stumble your way into scoring, but you're in position to be able to do that.
Right. Right. I agree.
But
I agree.
hopefully Auburn figures out how to get to that last leg, that last 90 feet necessary. But there's a lot of work that has to do to get there, right? Like
Yeah.
if you watch baseball, just because you're standing at third base does not mean you will score.
Nope. You had somebody strike out at the plate and it's over.
Yeah.
So
So
we will see.
looking forward to it. All right. So that gets us caught up to Alex Golish. Any other questions before we talk a little bit about early signing day?
Man, I wanted to give some credit to DJ Durkin because I thought he did a great job under the circumstances. I don't think you go from defensive coordinator to head coach in a week and not suffer some slippage. If anything, it shows me how much intensity and how much attention he puts into defense because once his attention had to broaden, the defense slipped up a little bit. I think that shows his value because you lost some staff positions technically once you are now the head coach. Well, who's the defensive coordinator? You are still? Hey, that's a lot of work. But I'm glad he stayed. I'm glad he stayed. I did want to know if there had been any additional news. I hadn't seen any about the offensive staff. I'm assuming they're all packing their bags because Golish is his own guy and he's got his own plan. But was there anything confirmed yet as far as what staffers are coming over from South Florida on the offensive side or what?
They've made some announcements. I believe the offensive line coach is coming over. I know the strength and conditioning coach is coming over. If I'm not mistaken, the DB coach is coming over. His quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, and Cody Burns is going to be his
Yeah.
associate head coach. So
Okay.
I think that is the folks that have been, and then I think some like administrative staff and stuff like that too. So
Okay. Bet. Okay. All right. Hey, well, the rest is let's see what he can do.
yeah, we will see what he can do here. We can take a break. I know you said you didn't have a lot of time. Did you want to hang out through the break? Do you want to go to break and then tell the people bye? Like, what's up? We can take a break now.
Man, I'm gonna have to jump at 7:30. Man, it's almost kids' bedtime. We pre-planning, getting their room straightened up, lights down, book on the side table, the whole nine. So I'm gonna jump at 7:30, start getting ready for that. But it's been good to be in here and catch up, man. We can take a few
That's
questions,
what's up.
end it off.
That's what's up. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take the break, and I'll let you get out of here, and get to doing dad duty things. Well, I know the community appreciates you being here. Hold on. Let me make sure before we go if there's any comments that were specifically directed towards you that were supers in here. Damien says today is my birthday, and the best gift ever is B Will pulling up on here. We're headed to a natty now.
Glad I can help make your day better, but man, don't put that pressure on me. I ain't got nothing to do with no natty. I was in here for game 1 for Baylor, and y'all said we won. We're gonna go in defeat. I said, oh no, we not. No. Don't put that on me. Don't put that on me.
But they did win the Baylor game when you showed up.
They did. They won the next couple games where I showed up. Well, I didn't show up, so it had nothing to do with me. That's Hugh Freeze's team. That was his performance.
Though. That was a Power 4 opponent. You showed up. They won.
You're right. You're right.
Felix jumps in and says, "B Will's up, my guy. War damn
what up,
Eagle.
Felix?
Appreciate you,
what
Felix.
What up, man? Good to see you."
Ken Lay says, "Good to see you, B Will. Always good to hear your analysis and thoughts. Don't be a stranger."
Man, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try, man. It's like the games be the exact times I be having other stuff to do. I mean, the shows will be at the exact time I got other stuff to do. But I'm gonna try when I can. I'm gonna try to make it on.
For sure. Heavy jumps in and says, "B Will hype. Glad to see you, buddy. Definitely glad to see B Will back in here. Our guy Mike Hicks, just for my boy B Will, dropped the 5 spot on there. You know what I mean?
Appreciate you, man.
I don't know how I skipped this one. My apologies here. We got Golish Durkin back, and we get a surprise B Will appearance. We are so back.
We back. We at least got the bum coach out the building. That was first thing we need to do. We did it. So
I don't even know so I haven't listened to and have you seen the David Pollock interview that Coach Freeze did?
I have not.
So he did an interview with David Pollock that dropped this week. Mike G's trying to get an interview with him. He's apparently doing a press run right now, trying to repair his public image and tell people he wants back in. Because there was somebody else who said that they got an interview coming up with him. But man, I haven't watched it, but people have told me he's still in these interviews saying we were close and he wants another opportunity. I was like,
that lets you know he's not present. He's not present. So
I'm
he's
like,
not being
bro,
realistic.
are you reading the room at all? Please stop saying this. Erase that for truthfully, I really do feel like we were close. I mean, go back and watch those games. I don't even have to see the interview to know what it's going to sound like when he's saying this stuff. I'm like, my guy, stop saying that.
Man, I heard that tone and cadence, that fake positivity for 3 years, 2.5 technically, I guess you could say. No, I don't want to hear no more of that. Like it worked the first year, and then he let Peyton Thorne come back, and I was like, I don't believe it no more. We don't believe you. You need more wins.
More people. For sure, man. I am very much confused as to why he hasn't gotten to the point of understanding. Like some stuff we just need to cut out. Like if you're gonna do this press run, be prepared to not say that. Like somebody coach this man up.
We were close. Yeah, $1 million quarterback, top receiver. Singleton looked like an NFL quarterback to me. Don't he look like an NFL quarterback? Cam Coleman, I know he's had some drops. He's still. You go back to 4 years ago. What did our wide receiver core look like?
Right.
Man, come on. Like, what are you doing? The defense was not lights out. It wasn't like the best defense I've ever seen. But you give Gus a top 15, top 10 defense in 2014. I too many excuses from him and too little production. I don't want to hear him talk about football ever again.
Yeah. All right. Well, man, again, we appreciate you stopping through with us on a Wednesday night. Go do the dad thing, and we will holler at you next time around, my guy.
It has been real. I will make it back when I can. I appreciate y'all.
For sure. Well, you guys are watching the Midweek Report. Make sure y'all stay tapped in. We'll talk a little bit more early signing day on the other side of the break. But until then, we're going to pay a few bills. We'll be right back at you.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
The Rage Room. The
Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Set up a session today at one of the 2 great locations in Opelika or Birmingham by visiting opelikaRageRoom.com or BirminghamRageRoom.com.
Thank you to the sponsors of the War Report. Thank you to those of you who are part of the Green Name Gang. We'll be transitioning over into some Green Name Gang content in just a minute when we watch NC State get down with Auburn. So y'all make sure y'all tap in if you're into the basketball thing. But you can join. $5.99 per month gets you to the patron level. $3.99 makes you a supporter. Join over here on YouTube if you're on Twitter or Facebook right now. You can get over here to the YouTube before the game starts and be a part of our live reaction show there for Auburn versus NC State. Maybe somebody can gift you a membership the same way the Ken Lay did earlier, gave away a couple of War Report memberships, C5 War Report memberships given away by him. Thank you so much for that. Tap in with us if you got that, and we'll be good. Like I said, we'll be going live here in just a little bit for the basketball game. Want to also thank the sponsors over at, or the good folks over at AIMA and Associates. That's Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates Incorporated. If you're a small business owner, you have a lot on your plate, growing the business, taking care of employees, and usually what suffers the most are your personal assets. At Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates, their fiduciary advisors are a resource for business owners to make sure that their personal assets are getting the same required attention as they give their business every day. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128 or scan the QR code on your screen or visit AIMAinc.com to schedule your initial consultation today. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates for this endorsement. AIMA and Associates is an SEC registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. I also want to make sure that we shout out the good folks over at the Rogue Shop. If you were sweating, wondering whether or not Zara was going to fax over that commitment letter, maybe you can get a little stress relief over at rogueshop.com. You use code REPORT, that gets you 15% off at America's #1 online dispensary. Whether it's sleep, stress, pain, or anxiety relief, if you need some herbal supplements, they got you over at Rogue Shop. Make sure you tap in with the good folks over there. Let's get back over here into our conversation. We are talking about National Signing Day and Auburn. Well, early signing day. We still have another signing day period that is out there. But Auburn has letters of intent in, and we're going to take a look at all the folks who made it official with Auburn today. Let me pull that back up. I just had it on this screen over here, and somehow I have navigated away from it. Anyway, I do have a graphic here. It doesn't have Zara because that happened while we were here on the broadcast, but just so you can see the list of the names that are out there. There are your folks, Jaquez Wilkes, the linebacker, Corey Wells, the defensive lineman, Shadarius Tootle, linebacker, Deshaun Spencer, wide receiver, Parker Pritchett, an interior offensive line, Adam Balagoon Ali, I believe I am butchering that young man's name, and I apologize, is linebacker Brian Williams Jr., the wide receiver, Wayne Henry, safety, DeMarcus Broughton Jr., tight end, Rice Brush, the quarterback, Mikal Lundy Foster, interior offensive lineman, Shadrick Tootle, the safety, Chris Wells, an edge player, Travis Wakefield, the long snapper. Again, made this graphic before it happened. Zare is now in the bucket, but he or on board, golly. He is there at offensive tackle. Jace Matthews and Tavian Branch both have commitments for Auburn, but have not had their letter of intent sent in. Branch just committed today in his flip over from Penn State with his commitment. And Jace Matthews has his ceremony coming up Friday, I believe that has been reported. So that is the signing class as it stands right now. Again, when I made this graphic, Auburn was 34th nationally and 14th in the SEC. They are now ranked 36th. So there has been some additional movement since the graphic was made. Still 14th in the SEC. The question is out there in the live chat right now. How do you feel about what this signing class looks like? What are your thoughts on the expectations versus the reality, right? Like we knew, and this is prior to Hugh Freeze leaving. This is something that has been a reality for months. And I need people to remember that for months, people have thought that, or have said that Auburn was not going to sign. This is not going to have a lot of signees in this class. This wasn't going to be like a 25, 26 person class. It was going to be a class that was going to have maybe 15, 16 signees in it right now. And right now, excuse me, they have a total of 15, right? So there might be another 4, like they may get to 19 in total, but some of the classes that are ranked ahead of them have something like 26, 27 recruits in it. So like you're going to have, just off sheer numbers, more available to you. When you look at the team rankings, the number 1 recruiting class at USC has 35 recruits right now. They only have 1 5-star in that group, right? So it's not like they're loading up on 5-stars. They are up because of the number of recruits they have. 21 recruits in Oregon, but a lot of those 4 and 5 stars. Notre Dame has 27 recruits. Alabama has 20 commits, right? So Alabama did really well on quality of guys. So that's someone you can compare yourself to. 30 commits for Georgia, right? Georgia has 30 people in their class, almost doubling what some other classes are. Ohio State, 27. Tennessee, 28. Texas 23, Texas A&M 25, 30 at Miami, 27. LSU only has 16, so they did a good job of getting quality there with theirs, ranked 12th, but only 16 commits. Washington 23. Florida State has 32 commits in that class, right? So just a lot of folks with a lot of commits that are well above Auburn. So it puts into perspective, part of this is just a numbers game, but some of it is the fact that it's a lot of 3-star guys, and Auburn only has so much NIL money to go around, and they have made a commitment predating Alex Skolish again to say they want to re-recruit their own roster, right? So re-recruiting your own roster being a priority means you're not putting those NIL dollars towards trying to bring on folks in the freshman class. That's not to excuse anything. That's to explain anything. And I talked to somebody the other day, they're like, well, explanations sometimes are excuses. Well, I mean, they explain what they explain. I don't know what else to tell you, except that's what it is. So I'm not so much caught up in, and y'all know, I've never really been a recruiting rankings guy. I talk about it because it's something we need to discuss. But what I want to talk about is whether or not they brought in the right guys, the right fit for the things that were necessary. So we go back and we look at this class. Or before we pull up this class, I should have asked this question to begin with. What do you feel like the biggest needs were for this Auburn team? Where were the areas where you say to yourself, Auburn absolutely needs more guys to come in and compete in these places, and some freshmen, because you're looking at these guys walking out of the door because they're graduating, and this room is going to be needing some refreshing, or this room underperformed and I wanted to see more people in that place. For me, it was really only 2 groups that I said to myself, well, 3 places where I said to myself, Auburn needs to get some dudes there. It's pass rusher. It is exterior offensive line specifically, right? Like, I think they have enough guys on the interior. So the tackle positions specifically, and the tight end room. Those were the 3 places where I said Auburn needs a dude, 1 or 2 dudes at least in this class. So let's go back and let's look again at the graphic and see what they did. Wilkes looks like a guy who can go get after the passer. Shadarius Tootle looks like a guy who can go get after the passer. I'm going to call him ABA so I don't keep butchering his name. ABA looks like a guy who can go get after the passer. So they went and then Chris Wells. They went and got 4 dudes in an area that I thought Auburn needed to improve in, because I'm not as down on the defensive backfield as a lot of people are for Auburn, because I feel like the pass rush just wasn't what it needed to be in order for Auburn to only rush 4 in these scenarios, or bring sim pressure in these scenarios, because you have guys that tilt the defense in one direction or another. I think they went and bolstered that room with some young talent in this class. And so I like what happened there along the defensive line for them to be able to have more edge rushers and linebackers that can go rush the passer. So I like what you see there. The second place that I mentioned, exterior offensive line, the tackle position. There's only 1 offensive tackle in this, right? There's another offensive lineman. So Parker Pritchett is out there, and he may be right. When you look at his measurables, let me pull him up over here. He is 6'5", 310. So that's somebody who maybe could convert to an exterior guy, but really Zaire is the only person who is supposed to be out there as a tackle as recruited. So, and I really don't want to get into a situation where you're having to bump guards out to play tackle, but I do think that Auburn still has some work to do at the tackle position, and maybe that's going to be addressed in the transfer portal, but that's a place that I think needs to happen. And then you went and you got a tight end, and I think you got a quality one in DJ Broughton there, DeMarcus Broughton. I think you got a quality tight end in this class. So I think you addressed some of your needs, but the rest of this is going to have to shake out in the transfer portal. And that's why, okay, so I asked the question again here, and I'm going to go ahead and end this poll now I'll give you 4 more minutes. There have been 209 votes, 364 people live here on YouTube to be able to vote. How did Auburn signing day go? The options here exceeded my expectations, met my expectations, underperformed my expectations, or you're Daniel Denny and everything's terrible all the time. Which one of these places are you in as a fan right now today, looking at what happened today with signing day with Auburn? Right now, as we have, again, 4 minutes before I close it, 52% of the people say it met the expectations, right? I'm not one of those people who is so caught up on, well, Alex Golesh just got here. A lot of these results aren't going to be due to him. He had time to come in and flip some folks from where he was previously. They had, that's kind of one of the things when you're hiring a new coach and you understand that you're going to have a short time frame, you kind of have to have expectations around what kind of talent. Similarly to what I would say as far as coaching talent is something I talked about with the coaching search. Coaches are going to be able to go into a room with an administrator and say, these are the types of coaches that I can bring to be a part of my staff. This is the type of staff I would put together. Part of that staff has to do with how well can we go out and recruit? How many relationships have we built in places that we feel like we've got solid guys that can come over either via what we've done in our recruiting prior to now, when we feel like we have a really strong pitch to bring them into an SEC school as opposed to a school that's in the American Conference over at USF. Can you do that here and bring some of those guys and flip some guys? They actually did a decent job of flipping the Wells brothers over from Texas. It was a 3-star wide receiver, but you look at the tape and that young man can flat out ball. They flipped a couple of wide receivers in this class. They got Tavian Branch to go ahead and sign up, and he had been previously committed elsewhere. So they were able to do some things in a short amount of time that shows the acumen of this staff that they've put together. Some of that was a holdover from what was happening with relationships already with DJ Durkin and his defensive staff, but still you have to give a little bit of credit to what was happening with the commitment going on with the head coach there of Alex Golesh and the staff that he brought in. But part of that question that still has to be answered will be answered probably in the transfer portal. You'll have more time to be able to do that. How many people are looking at Auburn now as a destination to go finish their career if they've only got 1 more year or 1 or 2 more years of eligibility, but likely in a place where they're looking to try to make a 1-year impact splash and try to get Auburn off to the races and do what I said, get them off of third base into a place where they can get, runs scored across the plate. Can they do that in the transfer portal? That's going to be the next test. If I were taking this survey, which I did not, I would probably be right around this met my expectation. Now, does that mean that this is a phenomenal job by this staff? I wasn't expecting phenomenal. I'm not one of those people that's caught up on how many 4 and 5 stars, because I go look at the tape at some of these guys and I'm like, oh, but this dude can play football. I see he's a 3-star. I see he's a low 4-star, whatever, as far as the ranking. But this dude is a football player. Now, my question is, how good is this staff going to be in their ability to take guys that maybe aren't the first guy you look at on film because the national rankings said that this was the guy that you should go and put in your class, and turn that person into a capable collegiate player that's able to execute the things that you're asking them to do consistently? That's the question I'm going to have for this staff. How much development is going to be happening? We talk about it all the time. Just because you're a 5-star athlete does not mean that you don't still need polish and development. And how much has Auburn not done a good job of putting prime athletes in positions to be able to be great, not just good, and not just go out there, just use your God-given gift. Yeah, man, but it's a lot of God-given gifts out there on the other side of the football, man. Put me in position, coach, whether it's by technique or by scheme, to make sure that we are making winning plays and the times necessary for us to do that. I don't know that Auburn has done that well enough for us to be so caught up in the quality of the star ranking of the player. Show me competency on Saturdays. When you do that consistently, people are going to want to come play for you. Like, that's just, it's a no-brainer. When you show, man, it's a difference. And this was the coach Hugh Freeze pitch that happened over and over again. Hey, if this was you, you'd be able to go make that play in this situation. But the additional step is, and I'm going to show you how to make it. Not just because you're faster, but I'm going to show you how to be able to look at the film and put yourself in position to go do that. And then your God-given ability takes over. I'm going to make sure that we call the right stuff so that when we're in this 3rd and long scenario on offense, you understand what the blocking assignment is supposed to be so you can make the right blocks. You understand what your reads are supposed to be so that you can run the right route. And you understand what your reads are supposed to be as a quarterback so you can deliver the ball where it's supposed to go. Now, the question is, can you do that accurately? But did we as a coaching staff handle right call, right scenario, right execution as far as training to put you in that spot and repping that stuff over and over again? Getting you in your body in the right place so that when it's 4th quarter, you're still executing at a high level. And then, hey, listen, if it's time to go make a play, now that 4 and 5 star ability taps in. Have we done all of those things first before we worry about whether or not we got 4 and 5 stars making the catches on the other end? Did Auburn do their job to put those people who are phenomenal athletes in the position to go make phenomenal plays? More often than not, the answer to that has been no, unfortunately. Again, that's not to say that coaches have always been bad, but they haven't been great in some of those situations. And hopefully that is the thing that starts to change under Alex Golish. Went ahead and ended that survey. Final results, 53% of people who were 239 votes here on YouTube said this class met my expectations. 27% say exceeded their expectations. So definitely feel as if there is overall, the vast majority of people's sentiment is this is about what I thought this signing class was going to be, maybe even a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. And there's still some possibilities out there to add additional folks that are going to bolster what the numbers look like as far as overall number of recruits and the overall ratings and rankings are concerned. So there's time to be able to pull that score up a little bit. But I do like the fact that Auburn did a good job of getting some quality pieces in places of need, and then filling out some other places where you may have some attrition. And the transfer portal is going to be the next place where Auburn's going to have to look. And that's going to be the place, honestly, that I'm looking for Auburn to do much better. Because I don't think, when you go back and evaluate transfer portal classes, I think there's been more misses than there have been hits. Now, there's been some hits out there, but I just don't know that Auburn has hit in the way that they needed to, particularly in the offensive line, in the quarterback room, in the transfer portal. If that's the direction that they want to go. Now, I don't want to have the whole conversation about quarterback today, about what's going to happen, because what's going to happen is going to happen, right? Like, so me speculating on what could happen, what should happen, what I would like to happen, we do that a lot. But what I want to focus on is what is right now. And what is right now is you've got some capable quarterbacks in this room. So that's not the place I think Auburn has to go in the transfer portal. But if they do happen to go there, are they going to be able to bring someone in that's going to be adequately put in position to go and execute on Saturdays consistently? Have not seen that yet from a transfer portal quarterback under the last really three coaches. Hopefully that tide has started to change or swing in the other direction as we approach the next signing day, or the next transfer portal window that's going to be opening up here at the top of July. And again, this is one of those things where they're not going to get multiple shots at this, our players. You need to enter the transfer portal when it's open. And so we may see a lot of people hop in the portal, even if they intend to come back to Auburn. The question is whether or not you've got a coach that says, sure, go test the waters. And if you don't like it out there, we're going to welcome you back. Because some coaches were adamantly against that. Like Sam Pittman really hated that. Like he was like, man, if you're going to hit the transfer portal, you're not coming back around here. Right. And so we'll see what happens with how Alex Golish decides he wants to handle those types of situations. So But yeah, so that's going to be the next opportunity. Let me get over here and grab these super chats. We got about 10 minutes before the scheduled tip off of Auburn versus NC State. So I want to make sure we have time to transition there. So let me grab some of these super chats. The Canlay says, certainly wish I had a crystal ball, but I feel this could be a home run hire. I have a good feeling. I really have a good feeling about this head coach. Listen, I don't know that we can evaluate home run or not. Like maybe it's one of those things where you go back to video review later and you see, oh, it actually did go all the way over. Like, I don't know. But right now I'm sticking with double, ground rule double or something like that. War Eagle Steve says, safe to say Cohen's legacy at Auburn will be defined by how well SP and AG perform in year one. So far, both are off to a good start. I don't know that he defines his legacy in year one, but those are the biggest hires that he's going to make because, again, I've said this plenty of times. He's not going to get a third opportunity to hire a head football coach. He could get some grace with hiring another basketball coach, even though I do think that Stephen Pearl is completely capable of taking this Auburn team. And then you have to think about, like, what are really the expectations for SP and how he's going to be out there and performing? Like, is it making it to the Sweet 16 consistently, right? Like, where do you put the floor? Because that's really what's most important in the hiring firing conversation. And then how close do you get to what you think the ceiling is? If you think Auburn is a team that should be in contention for championships in basketball consistently, and they're consistently underperforming that, contention, not saying winning, contention, then yeah, you need to have a different conversation. But I think that Stephen Pearl can get it going in that way. Heavy jumps in and says, Ike, thanks for streaming today. I was working and lurking, made my day go by faster. Glad to do it, man. I appreciate you all for jumping in there with me. Like 7.5 hour long stream today, man. And that's just kind of what we do on early signing day. Oda jumps in. Why not just move Perry to tight end? I mean, he's 6'4", 230. Playing tight end is more than playing wide receiver, right? I do think that there are opportunities to line him up in a tight end alignment that could have been utilized, but a full-time tight end, I don't know. Again, I think at the next level, there are different types of tight ends. So he could be more of the pass catching type. And if he learns how to block better, not saying that he's a poor blocker, but he's not like the kind of blocker that you really think of a tight end to be, then he absolutely could do that sort of thing. But I think, just moving him into the slot might be something that they should consider so that you can have him do some hybrid tight end type duty. But that's going to be on Alex Golesh and staff to put him in those positions should he stay at Auburn this next season. War Eagle Steve jumps back in this new era of NIL, teams that can strategically manage scholarships between the portal and high school will have the most success. I believe AG gets that. Listen, he's prioritized keeping his team out of the transfer portal. So because he realizes he already has a bunch of talent. So why go look for talent when it's right in your backyard already? But hopefully he's going to do a good job of retaining a lot of the talent that's necessary to execute the kinds of things that he wants to do, and does a good job of evaluating the people who aren't going to be able to execute those things and kindly suggest, I don't know where you're going to be on the depth chart when we start to swing this thing around, because I don't know about your ability to do X, Y, and Z, or we're not willing to offer you this kind of money, blah, blah, blah. Whatever those tough conversations need to be had, then they just need to happen, and so that folks can know where they stand and make informed decisions about their future in collegiate sports going forward. So hopefully we'll get an opportunity to see a fruitful transfer portal class coming in for Auburn. And, part of that recruiting, again, is going to be trying to retain folks that you don't want to hit the portal. So we'll see how effective those conversations can be for this staff going forward in light of what they have right now with this freshman class coming in and the spaces and the spots that they should have available for new talent coming in from the transfer portal after you have people graduating and moving on and folks hitting the transfer portal from Auburn. All right. That's it, man. That's just a little quick rundown there for early signing day. We can definitely go back and break down a little bit more on this stuff. Who goes into this stuff really well, really detailed on the channel. That's my guy, Dustin, over at the Up Tempo podcast. And I know he is itching to talk about some of these recruits. So if you haven't tapped in with Up Tempo, make sure that y'all go and do that. But I don't see any more super chats. So that means I'm going to get out of here and let us get prepped for this basketball game. Once again, thank you to the sponsors of tonight's show. That is the Rage Room in both Opelika and Alabama, both Opelika, Alabama, and Birmingham, Alabama. Make sure you tap in with one of those spots. Get your rage on at the Rage Room. Make sure you get your Green Name Gang active. We'll be starting up a new live here in just a minute for y'all to make sure we can watch this game together. Make sure you gift memberships to other people so they can be a part of the family doing that sort of thing. Tap in with us over there at the merch store, warport.com. Grab you some merchandise. That's another way that you can support what we have going on. Support yourself by getting some dope gear over there. Support the network, all the folks out there, the Auburn Express, who that is us over here, the Uptempo Podcast, the College Loop, Just a Sec, and TWR Gaming Channel. All of those people are there to do their thing with y'all, man. But I'm going to get out of here, and we're going to get prepped to watch a little basketball tonight. Hopefully everybody is having a wonderful night, and you are able to enjoy some basketball, man, because I want to see Auburn get this dub tonight. Shout out to Auburn women's basketball. Close loss today. They really should have won that game versus Syracuse, man. They got to learn how to close those games a little bit better. The turnovers in the third quarter really hurt. I mean, really, the second quarter turnovers really hurt the team. And then just missed free throws down the stretch. And they had the game-winning shot, the shot that they wanted. Freshman Harasum Koulibaly missed that. And then ended the game there in overtime, went to overtime versus Syracuse on the road, by the way, versus a tough Syracuse team, lost by 6 in overtime, but got to learn how to close out those games. I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. But all right, let's get over to this men's basketball game here in just a minute. That's it. I'm out of here. Until the next time. And as always, War Eagle. Peace.